Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Stunning Steve Barber. Joining me, as always, is my awesome co-host, the intellectual rock star himself, Delicious Dwaylen Davis.
Hey, everybody.
And he's feeling in a retro mood. That's why he's dressed up like he's part of the Gap Band. For people who are audio only, he's wearing a sleeveless shirt with kind of Bengal tiger stripes on it. At least that's the
Sort
color.
of, yeah.
Yeah, kind of a lighter orange, but it's got definitely got the black
Mhm.
with it. So if you start hearing him start singing about dropping the bomb on me, well, that's why. That's really the only song I could think of from the Gap Band. But man, it was a huge song.
Yeah,
So and now I'm going to have it stuck in my head the rest of the time we're recording. So
of course.
that's my fault actually. I put the earworm in my own ear. so, uh, but today we're going to have, I guess, kind of as a follow up for what we did a couple of days ago, where we
Hmm.
talked about the history of Money in the Bank and some trivia to go along with it. But we're actually going to give our own preview and predictions of this upcoming Money in the Bank event that's going to be held in London at the O2 Arena. Turn on the network at about 3 o'clock Eastern time. Which, listening to What Culture Wrestling earlier, they said it's actually a good time for them. They're not used to being able to do like the live streams
Yeah, yeah,
at a good time.
because it's usually on so late over there. So yeah,
Yeah, because with it being the 5 hour time difference between the East Coast and England, so you're talking 8 o'clock start time. That's 1 o'clock in the morning there,
yeah,
and it goes for 4 hours, usually 3 to 4 hours. So that pushes all the way into about 5 o'clock in the morning. So if you work a regular 9 to 5 job, that's going to honk up your sleep schedule.
yep, yep.
So, but um, yeah, I'm glad we did that episode because I thought that was actually kind of interesting. And then not long, like the next day at the actually, I want to say it was Walk Culture Wrestling. They released a video, like they ranked um the Money in the Bank winners. I haven't actually watched it
Yes,
yet.
I watched that one. Yeah,
Um, I mean, just as a spoiler,
I mean, you know what's number one?
please tell me it's not Beatbox Brock.
No, no, no.
Because by the way, Kyle, he actually messaged me. He still loves him some Beatbox Brock. so, uh, number one, Cena.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I'll have to watch it. Oh, the cash in would have to be Rollins.
Yep, yep.
Okay, yeah, because that one was like that is one of the most famous cash ins.
Hmm.
Oh, but for this Saturday, there are 7 matches scheduled for right now, which makes sense.
Hmm.
Because I mean the main event matches they tend to last a little bit longer, or they have the potential of
Yeah.
lasting a little bit longer. Um, but some of the other matches, this actually looks like it'll be a pretty decent card. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. They've been surprising me a whole lot with their premium live events here lately. The last few have actually been really good. So hopefully they'll keep that same trend, but I'm not expecting too much because Vince McMahon has his hand in creative. So they've even said that it's this is how bad it is that with Vince back in charge, having his fingerprints all over everything, making last minute changes to Raw and SmackDown, is they're trying to plan out things for SmackDown weeks in advance so that Vince can't change anything. They're trying to
Wow.
plan stuff out weeks in advance. That way, the day of the show, he can't go rewrite the show because that's what he's been doing the last couple of weeks. He's been making last minute changes to Raw, last minute changes to SmackDown, and it's thrown a lot of stuff off and it's bumped a lot of people off the show that would have been on the show. The only
Um,
thing that I did agree with him doing is Seth Rollins was supposed to have an open challenge for the World Heavyweight title on Raw,
okay.
and Finn Balor jumped him and beat the crap out of him. And Vince did that because he wanted to kind of heat Finn up going into their title match on Saturday, which that part that does make sense. And we're getting more of that ruthless. Prince Devitt Finn Balor with this whole program with Seth. So I'll give Vince credit. That was a smart move. But cutting whole segments out and eliminating people from, getting on the show, like I think a Bailey match got cut again, and trying to think what else there was.
I love watching Bailey too, so I don't get why
Hmm.
they feel like they have to cut her matches.
And he's done the 50-50 booking thing with Tommaso Ciampa came back last week. He answered the Miz's open challenge. He beat the Miz. Then this week, Ciampa's coming out for a match. Miz jumps him, beats him up, all this, and it's like, I don't really need all that.
But yeah, keep Vince's hands out of there, because there's one other thing I have a feeling is a Vince idea that we will hit on, because you texted me about it yesterday, and um
Mm,
and yeah, if it
yep.
happens, it's not going to be a good reaction from my house or your house or
No,
like
not at all.
every
My
house.
family's going to be like, what is wrong with daddy? It's like, his
Yeah,
daddy lost his mind.
yeah, and I have a feeling like every house between at least between Cincinnati and Paducah is going to be doing the same
Yeah. Yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah.
oh, whew. But you know what? I will actually, I'm looking at the Wikipedia article right now, and of course, the way they had the matches, they actually had the actual ladder matches for the briefcases listed first. So I'll actually start at the bottom, and we'll give our predictions, what we think should happen, and what we think will happen.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's the same, you
Yeah.
know, um, will and should, and when we say should is like our opinion, and I mean
Hmm.
we always have to give the disclaimer. We have to preface it by saying we are not actually involved with the wrestling business. We are merely
Right.
podcasters, which is kind of, I guess, some people consider it journalism. Um,
In this day and age, yeah.
this
Yeah.
day, yeah, it is a form of journalism. Um, except for we don't get as much flack as like
Right.
news
Yeah.
journalists. So,
Yeah.
which I'm kind of glad about. These are our opinions, So, uh, and before we even do that, I will mention real quick some news about WWE before I forget. Have you seen the whole thing? In fact, I think there was this article I actually sent to you, Sergeant Slaughter
Hmm.
and his daughter,
Yeah.
the daughter of
Yeah.
Slaughter.
Yeah.
They're I'm sorry, I just had to make that rhyme. I just realized the Slaughter daughter. Uh, they are upset with Lacey Evans first doing the Marine gimmick, and then second using the
Hmm.
Cobra Clutch.
Yeah. Because she didn't get permission to use it.
Right. Um, First, I will say this: Lacey Evans does not have to get permission from anybody to use a Marine
No.
gimmick, except for maybe the
No.
Marine Corps itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, now that might
Because
be a thing because,
yeah,
but
I don't agree with his daughter getting upset about that. I mean, she was actually a Marine, so it's like she has every right to do that gimmick. If she,
mhm.
as long as the
Or
Marine Corps is okay with it, then I
yeah,
don't see the issue. Now, the Cobra Clutch, I do because that's a time honored tradition that if you're going to use somebody else's move, you ask them,
hmm
you ask for their permission to use that move. Kevin Owens did it with the stunner.
hmm
We've talked on the show before how Michelle McCool took the Styles Clash and then pretended like she had no clue about AJ Styles doing the move and acted like she invented the move. And it's like, um, no, he'd been doing the Styles Clash since 2000, way before
hmm
she ever thought about wrestling. But
uh,
that's one of those things. It's like she didn't ask for permission to use the move that somebody else came up with, just like, but in turn, Kevin Owens did the right thing and asked Steve Austin if it was okay for him to use the stunner.
and they were, I think, there kind of a weird coincidence. Steve Austin, when he first went to the WWF, he was using the Cobra Clutch, except for they called it the $1 Million Dream.
Yep.
Slaughter was okay with that because they were not
Yeah.
referred to it, and because he came in under Ted DiBiase, the
Yeah.
$1 Million
So he
Champion,
used,
Million
yeah,
Dollar
he
Dream.
used the $1 Million Dream. Yeah. They weren't calling it the Cobra Clutch. So yeah, there was no issue there, but she's blatantly calling it the Cobra Clutch, and it's like, you might want to talk to Sarge about that.
I mean, and I have a feeling it probably wasn't her idea.
Probably not. It was. I'm sure it was a booking decision, and they didn't think because Vince doesn't care about time honored traditions in pro wrestling. So
No,
Triple H does, but Vince doesn't.
I mean, and part of it, when it comes to using somebody's move, if somebody is active, this is the way I kind of feel about it. If somebody is still
Hmm.
active, still using the move,
Hmm.
unless it's part of an angle. Now, it may be part of an angle where,
Yeah,
you know,
where you steal the other's move, or
yeah,
it could be in a match. Like you've seen the really good matches where
yes, they,
they'll steal the other person's move, trying to beat them with their own move. Stuff like that is fine.
yeah. If Sarge was still wrestling and all of a sudden
Yeah,
she just started using it,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But he hasn't wrestled since the gimmick battle royal, and even then, unless he's been doing some indie
Yeah,
shots here and there, but he's under a
maybe.
Legends contract, so
Yeah,
you know, um, so that to me, I'm like, I do get the tradition part, but part of me
yeah,
says, well, nobody else is using it,
right.
you
Yeah,
know, so
true.
that's where I'm kind of on that kind of fence about it. I think respect wise, yeah, they should have probably asked because
Hmm.
it is associated with Sergeant Slaughter,
Yeah.
who taught it to Don Carnoodle, who taught it to Ivan Koloff, who taught it to Nikita Koloff and Crusher Khrushchev, and that was
Hmm.
their bit for a little bit.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure there were some other ones who also used it at some point. Jinder Mahal, that was
It was
part
part
of
of
it.
the, yeah, he hooked it and then did the Uranagi. So,
I never
but it
got
was
that.
part
That
of,
that to me was
yeah,
odd. It's like you already have a finish and move on, and why are you throwing it into another
yeah.
move? But and that one actually could have worked also, the Cobra Clutch, because he was being portrayed as being from India, because
Hmm.
and he would do the little thing with the Cobra.
Yep.
Granted, that was more oh my God, what's his face, big tall dude,
Santino.
Santino, and um
Um,
from
Kali.
India, yeah, Great Khali. When
Hmm.
they it was stupid, I'm not gonna lie, but it was fun to watch. You know what I'm talking about, when they had the
Yeah.
he had the little flute
Yeah.
out there and you saw his
Hmm. It was like,
that was
yeah,
awesome. I'm like, okay, y'all think wrestling's fake? Come check this out. You
yeah.
know,
But
but
that's
man,
like that.
it was
That's like
entertaining.
the camel clutch. It's
Yeah.
Iron Sheiks used it. Rusev used it. I'm trying to think
Hmm.
who else. There's somebody else that used it, not for long. Muhammad
Sergeant
Hassan.
Slaughter used it for a
Slaughter
bit
did use it. Yep,
when
he
he
did
came
use it.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just not thought about
when
that.
Slaughter used it while he was WWE champion
Hmm.
because because when he beat the Warrior at the Rumble after Savage hit the Warrior in the head with the scepter, he put the Warrior in the camel clutch. The Warrior was already knocked out, so
Hmm.
he got a submission win with the camel clutch.
And that was Gory Guerrero's move. He was the one
Hmm.
who invented that.
Yep.
And now Iron Sheik, I think, probably made it more famous,
Yeah.
but I mean, there were other people who used it,
Hmm.
and because you didn't see any backlash, I'm pretty sure they actually made sure they got the blessings of whoever.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure.
So, um, but yeah, I just wanted to bring that up just because it was like right there on my
Hmm.
mind. Um, but we'll go ahead and get started with the first match. By the way, I just checked. We don't have any reviews and any 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts. Seriously, people, if you give us a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, we will read it on the air.
Yep. We've done
You
it
know,
before.
yep. And on all the other platforms, there's not. Apple is the only one I know of where you can actually write a review, but there are some other ones you can actually still give ratings. Now, if you
Hmm.
give the rating and you give me a screenshot and you write a review in the email, send it to me or Dwaylen. You send it to both of us.
Hmm.
I'm cool with either one. Armchairbookingpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can send it to Dwaylen's email, the Intellectual Rockstar Podcast, also at
Yep.
gmail.com.
Yep.
That's why he is the Intellectual Rockstar, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm learning about Batman villains. I didn't even know they existed. I didn't know there was one called Man Bat until today.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So, but you just, you send us the review, and I'm talking like this could be off Spotify. This could be on Good Pods. That's another one you can give a rating. and send it to us. We will read it. And if you don't want us to give your name on the air, that's cool.
Hmm.
Because and if you just have a regular screen name, that you would rather us use, that's fine too. And send it to us. We will read it on the air. And
Yep.
just send it to us. And while you're at it, go check out the Intellectual Rockstar podcast. Go,
Thank you.
go check out my secondary podcast, the Cubicle Chat,
Hmm.
uh, which I will be doing a show here soon, all about these things behind me: the
The
Rubik's cubes,
cubes. Hmm.
the cubes, twisty puzzles, um, mechanical puzzles. By the way, I'm
Hmm.
holding in my hand. I was actually working on this before we started recording. This is a 10 by 10 by 10 Rubik's cube. Yes, it is solvable. Um, it's not, well, if you already know how to solve a 4 by 4 and a 5 by 5, then you can solve everything higher.
Right.
And
I'm going to be doing maybe later today. I'm going to be doing an episode of my podcast ranking the Indiana Jones movies from my least favorite to my favorite, considering the newest one is coming out.
you just give me an idea. Yesterday, speaking of movies, went and saw the movie Asteroid City. I will say this before we move on. If you like Wes Anderson, you'll like this movie. If you don't like Wes Anderson, if you're not into him, you'll think this is one of the strangest movies ever put to film.
For me, I like the Royal Tenenbaums, but that was about it. I've never been a big fan of his.
He's different. He's an
Yeah,
acquired taste. I'm not going to say he's
yeah.
horrible.
No,
Um,
he's not terrible. It's just not my not my style.
yeah. My son absolutely loves his movies. Um, don't know where he got it from, but I'm like, you know what? There was worse things he could like.
Absolutely. Yep.
Like heroin. If you, there's worse things in the world to worry about. And when we were at the movie theater, we actually they were doing souvenir like cups and popcorn bowls.
Hmm.
And I actually just asked him to bring me the cup that I got yesterday because even though I'd be honest with you, I've heard some bad things about the new Indiana Jones movie.
Hmm.
Um, but I haven't watched it yet, so I really can't,
Hmm.
make any kind of judgment on until I actually see it. I will say Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I've seen that one once, and that was enough for me.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I've only watched it once. Will never watch it again. Horrible movie.
because I will
Just
say
horrible.
this, and then and if you want, I can actually discuss it with you on Intellectual
Hmm.
Rockstar because I need to actually come on there anyway. So
Yep.
perfect reason.
Yeah.
Um, how do you go from the first three movies talking about three of the world's major religions, first one Judaism, second one Hindu, third one Christianity, to all of a sudden you have aliens and ants dragging somebody into a hole?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just and
I don't get it.
you know, but you know what? Maybe that'll actually answer the answer. It'll answer the question of what's actually in the briefcase for the money in the bank. They say it's a contract,
Yeah.
but I don't know. You know what else it could be in that briefcase? Marcellus Wallace's soul.
Could be. Could be.
You know.
Yep.
So first match, and if you're on the Wikipedia article, you'll see the first match. Well, the last match listed, but that's where we're going from bottom up. Gunther, Matt Riddle, singles match for the WWE Intercontinental Champion. Did Matt Riddle get drafted to Smack? No, Gunther got drafted to Raw. That's what it is.
Hmm. Um, it's Gunther. There's no doubt. It's Gunther.
It better be Gunther.
It's gonna be a hard hitting match because
Hmm.
Matt Riddle can do that.
Oh, yes, he can.
I'm just not a fan of Matt Riddle. The whole original bro gimmick
Oh,
gets on my nerves. He leans way too much into the stoner gimmick, and it's just
in real life
okay.
too.
Yeah, I mean, real life you do what you do, but it's like that to me. That gimmick in wrestling has a ceiling, and
Yeah,
I just don't see them ever putting Riddle as a main event guy. I think he's good to come out. He can always give you a good match. He's good to pop the crowd, stuff like that, but he's not beating Gunther for the Intercontinental title.
Better not.
He's taking up
Um,
he's gonna give as good as he gets, but he's gonna take a nasty power bomb, and that's it.
how close is Gunther to beating Honky Tonk Man?
I am not sure.
You know what? Let me go see if I can find it real quick. Because I think um, that might actually determine, Gunther. Let me see. Oh, come on, people. Um, all right, Miss Perfect, Miss Perfect. Oh, before that, okay. Really, there weren't that many before Honky Tonk Man. Um, let's see.
No,
454 days. Is that what it said?
is that what
That
the
is,
Honky Tonks Man's is?
yeah, that is such a crime.
Yeah.
It really is, especially considering who he beat.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. There's some that negative 1 days, one or less than 1 day, I should say. Um, Shamrock handled for 125 days. How you like that? Uh, who was just holding it for 1 day? Edge, 1 day. Um, man, there's a
Yeah,
lot of them only. Man, it's
that's when they
ridiculous.
yeah, they started hot shotting the Intercontinental title like crazy. It's like,
Good Lord.
yeah. It
Um,
really, for a long time, the Intercontinental title really lost its importance the way they booked it.
wow, who did this 244 days? Oh, Shelton Benjamin, 244
Hmm.
days. Nice. Uh,
From what I understand right now, it is the Honky Tonk Man, the only ones that have held it a really long time. Honky Tonk Man.
I just lost. I heard Honky Tonk Man, and then it froze up. Still there? Are you there? And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. I had a technical difficulty, but now we've got all these technical difficulties worked out. And I was going to say before everything all of a sudden went, um, the last thing I heard Dwaylen say was, "Yeah, the ratings are Honky Tonk Man," and
Yeah.
then your face froze.
Honky Tonk Man, Randy Savage, and then Gunther. I think Gunther's third.
I don't know if I could sort this by days because there's a few that actually that do have some days up there. Let me see, because Savage did hold it for he was the Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania 2,
Hmm.
and of course once again at 3 until he lost it to Steamboat.
Yeah,
Um,
because he beat Tito Santana for it
mhm. Yep,
in the old Boston Garden.
yep. I actually watched that match live when it happened.
Did you?
Yeah, I was at somebody's house who had the satellite dish, like the big satellite
Yeah.
dish, like the bird bath for a pterodactyl satellite dish, and they actually had the New England Sports Network,
Oh,
and
okay.
they also happened to be wrestling fans, and so I was at their house on whatever night of the week that was, um, and this was in North Carolina, and we watched them, and um, Randy Savage, uh, Randy Savage was on the ring apron, back to the ring. Tito went to pick him up for a back suplex into the ring, but before that, Randy Savage reached down in his tights and pulled out something. Yeah,
Yep.
and it looked like a little small dumbbell. And
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
yep. And the whole time I'm thinking, man, you had that in your tights the whole time. That had to be
Right.
uncomfortable. Because then he rolled it out of the ring when the referee.
Hmm.
What the referee was also Danny Davis. They actually
Uh,
incorporated. Now I'm not
yeah.
saying that was part of the original plan, but they happened to bring it up later on. Oh, he
Yeah.
was also the referee.
Yeah.
When Savage, yeah, because that's what the plan was. Um, let's see. Well, The Rock's got 265 days for one of his reigns. Um,
Probably that second one.
Um, yeah, it was. Perfect 280 days.
Hmm.
454. That was longer than 414. Yeah. So, um, yeah, it is Savage, and Gunther is. I think it said he's sitting at like 384.
Hmm.
Scrolling
Yeah.
to the bottom of that with all, the area where they were hot shotting it.
Yeah.
A lot of 6 day rains, 7 day rains. I think one of them was like 19 days. Gunther is sitting at 384 as of today.
384. So he needs 70 days to tie Honky Tonk Man. He needs 71 to pass him.
I believe so. Made you do that math quick. Um, so, yeah, 70. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that was quick. Oh, never mind. That was Pedro. Oh, Pedro Morales is sitting at 425 days for a rain.
Oh, I forgot about
I
Pedro.
got Pedro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
So
Savage, then Honky Tonk Man.
then Honky
I'm
Tonk.
sorry. I'm
So
sorry. It goes Savage, Pedro, Honky Tonk Man.
okay. Okay.
Honky Tonk Man is sitting at 454. Pedro is at 425. Savage is at 414. Yeah.
Okay. So
So
still, I need Gunther to hold it for another month, another 2 months and 11 days, and then he wipes everybody's record out and holds it by himself.
yes, and Gunther is like crazy good. So I'm okay with
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah,
But anyway, but uh, and since I think even Vince McMahon is like, why do we still have the Honky Tonk Man as our reigning
yeah.
champ?
Especially since the Honky Tonk Man has not had good things to say about WWE in a while. He's taken that Jim Cornette route where he's just the bitter old man that
Yeah,
people just want to hear what ridiculous thing he has to say next.
him and his sideburns, but
Yeah.
yeah, because you're right about Cornette too, because a lot of people are seeing the same thing. Cornette, but he's loved to sit there and pick his brain about wrestling.
Oh yeah.
He should probably shut up about everything else because, like, dude, you're here to talk about wrestling, please.
Yeah.
You
Even
know,
when he talks about wrestling, though, it's like,
he gets bitter.
dude, it's not 1987. I'm sorry. You can't book wrestling the same way as you did when, you know, you were managing the Midnight Express because wrestling's not the same that it was back then.
And I mean, I'll give him credit. He started, um, he actually created the last territory.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep,
Smoky Mountain.
yep, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and he ran it really well. So Jim Cornette's really he's done about everything you can do in the wrestling
Oh
business.
yeah. I mean, he's a genius as far as wrestling goes. It's just he's just bitter about the current product because he's at that point where it's like there's nothing wrong with appreciating the past and respecting the past, but you got to let that go if wrestling is going to move forward.
Hmm. It has to evolve, and he gets mad about, well, they're not sticking to kayfabe. Like, you aren't either. You are
It's like,
literally have a podcast every week where you
yeah.
don't stick to
And the
kayfabe.
thing is, kayfabe's been dead, dude. It's like
Yeah.
wrestling fans, you know, we know we don't care. We just want to watch a good product.
Yep. Because even, I mean, literally 10-year-olds understand the product. I know that
Hmm.
because of a 10-year-old who goes to my church.
Yeah.
He's big fan of Noah Gabriel.
Hmm.
And I told him about what Noah did in the ring here lately. And
Yep.
he's disappointed, but he said, you know what? I'm still going to cheer for him.
Right.
And then he started talking about, I watch WWE for the heels and the faces, and some of the terminology he was using. He was telling it to me and Randy, our buddy
Yeah.
Randy, and Randy and I, after he looked, we're like, oh my, this kid knows like way more than what a 10-year-old should about the wrestling.
Right.
But yeah, so um, yeah, bitter. Honky
Yeah.
Tonk Man, go. We don't want you.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, I mean, I think if they could find a reason to just totally strip that reign off their his record book,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
know
I needed to just
someday.
wipe that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but
Before we move on, Eric Bischoff is becoming a bitter old man too.
I actually stopped listening to his podcast a long time ago because we got to
Hmm.
noticing he was having excuses for everything that bad. Well, not everything that bad happened in WCW with when it was under him, because there's a couple things
Hmm.
he did admit. Yeah, I should have done that.
Hmm.
but there's some, a lot of it though. He's putting the blame on a lot of other people.
Oh yeah, he definitely makes excuses for why the company failed. And then like there's nothing wrong with analyzing the current product, but he picks it apart so that he can find something wrong with everything, especially AEW. He
Hmm.
will pick it to pieces just so he can try to find something wrong with either the performers or the match or the presentation or something. And it's like, if you don't like AEW, fine, don't watch it. But
Right.
a lot of us do. So if you don't have anything nice to say, then just shut up and go away.
And I actually need to start. I need to change the recording from our living room TV to like my computer.
Hmm.
So that way I can just watch it.
Right.
But I spend even now because I'm looking for jobs. I spend most of my day in my office.
Hmm.
So um, I need to just go in there and get it off the box and just put it in here so that way I can catch all these.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, so we both agree. I think Gunther will. I think Gunther should.
Yes, absolutely.
So next match for the women's tag team championship. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, the most legitimate women fighters there.
Yeah.
Um,
That's I mean, it'll be a decent match, but they're
against
not taking they're not taking the belts off of Ronda and Shayna just yet because they just unified them with the NXT tag titles.
oh, that's
So
right.
they are the undisputed women's tag team champions, and they will be able to defend those titles on all three brands. So I don't see them automatically dropping them to,
Liv
you know,
Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez. That's
and
who
yeah,
they're going against for
yeah,
this.
and who are former tag champions. I get that, and then they had to relinquish them when Liv got hurt, but I don't see a title change here. I think it's going to be Ronda and Shayna.
And it should be.
Hmm.
I do like how they're giving Liv Morgan and Ricardo Rodriguez a chance to get
Yes,
titles back that they never actually technically never lost.
yeah,
So I like how they're doing that. That's actually an improvement over before you lost it. Oh well,
you gets nothing. Yeah,
you get nothing. You don't even get a rematch when you. Kofi never got his rematch against Brock Lesnar
nope,
because
never
it
did.
was not like Ray was right at that time. They said we're no longer doing rematches. Do what?
Yeah, if you
Uh,
notice, the people that Brock has beaten for the WWE title, The Rock never got his rematch
he
because he
didn't.
was leaving for Hollywood, and even when he came back, he never got a rematch. That's a story they could have continued when The Rock came back, but they never did. Kofi never got his rematch. Big E never got his rematch. The only person that ever got a rematch was no, nope, because Bobby Lashley didn't get his rematch either.
Nope. And I know Lashley got hurt, but he's been back now for at least
He's
a
been
year.
back now for over a year because
Yeah.
that was he you know lost it at Elimination Chamber, and I mean we're almost in July and he still has never gotten his rematch for the WWE title.
Big E should have gotten his rematch right after he lost it.
Hmm.
But instead, it was an accident.
Hmm.
Um, who was it? Pete
Ridge Holland.
Rich Holland. Yeah, and Rich Holland's a strapping young lad. I mean, he's a big
Hmm.
dude, and
Yeah.
he honestly thought he could do that
Yeah.
overhead. I'm not a fan of the overhead belly to belly just because it looks a little too dangerous,
Yeah.
and that
Uh,
proved it.
and 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 really, there's only a few people that can pull it off, and it works. Like Brock and Scott Steiner in his prime could pull that off, but not very many people could pull it off smoothly, I don't think.
No, um, and especially against somebody Big E's size who's 300 pounds
Hmm.
of just muscle. The man has
Muscle.
like
Yeah.
half a percent body fat.
Yeah.
He was an offensive lineman at University of Iowa, or was it Iowa State?
Hmm.
I think it was Iowa.
Yeah, I think so.
Either one though. you know, but yeah, he's a Big E is one that
Yeah. Yeah. Either way. Yeah.
yeah. So But yeah, I think Ronda, Shayna, they're going to take this one. They will and they should.
Hmm. I agree.
So okay, so second technical difficulty, very very small one though this time. I had to sneeze, but hello again, ladies and gentlemen. We're just suffering all kinds of technical glitches. I blame Canada for this because they're the ones having the wildfires right now, which are making everything here all hot.
Okay. Let's see. I mean, everything's connected. It's all looking good. I'm not sure what the issue is.
Okay, now the internet is acting all kind of dumb today. And like I said, I'm before and Dwayne didn't hear my joke, so I'm just have to say it again. I blame Canada for this because with all the wildfires and everything. Missed my joke again. Missed it again. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again we're back. Uh, we think there's maybe some internet issues happening on Dwaylen's end because it keeps free. Is his internet's already dropped. Like I said, I'm gonna say this for the third time, and hopefully you actually hear my joke this time. I'm blaming Canada because of all the wildfires. You know, because
Oh yeah. Yeah.
it's making our. I mean, dude, right now I'm not even wanting to walk outside. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's awful outside.
yeah. Because yesterday, I mean, I had to go ahead and mow because my grass was looking like really, really bad. But I mean, afterwards, I mean, I had to walk in. It's like, and
Yeah.
um, so BC, not that we're blaming you personally, because I'm pretty sure you didn't set the fire, but and we're talking about BC Hunter from the Wrestling with the Truth podcast, Wrestling with the War is also another name. He and all that, but he also has the Wrestling with the '80s show that he does on YouTube. By the way, go check them out. BC is a great dude, and he supports us, and we support him. And honestly, if he didn't have a good show, we wouldn't support him. But he has an awesome show, so we
Yes,
definitely.
it does.
He's been on
Yep.
our show, we've been on his show. So go check him out. Go check out Ted the Hillbilly Hill. Go check out Finisher Wrestling, and go check out the Dad Word Order podcast. By the way, I'm gonna throw another non-wrestling one out there. The Mixtape podcast. They've been doing a lot of good stuff. We're in works right now to have me on there to actually talk about wrestling, like theme songs. But we'll see
Hmm.
how it goes. So, but yeah, definitely go check all those out. So they've been supporting us. We support them. It's a big family, and we just absolutely love it. So, but for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you see that Dwaylen has now switched to his phone.
Yeah.
For those of you in the audio, you notice that the audio has changed a little bit, but you can still hear him. And that's the important thing. So,
Yep.
the last thing I said before I had to say my joke 3 times. Now the audience they already heard it 3 times. So unless I go edit it out. But the last thing I said was Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler should win, and they will win.
Yes. I completely agree.
So the next match listed, and I have a feeling this is well, you never know with Money in the Bank how they order stuff because sometimes if they
Yep.
want to
True.
cash in that night, they'll have
Yeah.
the championship match um last. But the next one they have listed is the Bloodline Civil War. I have no idea what kind of stipulation match this is, but the Bloodline, which is Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa now, just the two of them against
Yeah.
the Usos. This is a family affair. They want to call this Money in the Bank a family affair. Kind of
Yeah.
like what we named one of our shows that's in the archives that you can always find in any audio,
Hmm.
any audio platform, except for Stitcher. That was some other news we got. Stitcher is no longer going to be a platform. So, but yeah, the Bloodline, and this one, I think it's going to be a hard hitting match because it's going to be an emotional match, and
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah, um, but I'm going to go with the Bloodline winning through some shenanigans.
I could see that. I was thinking I'm leaning toward the Usos win due to some miscommunication between Solo and Roman. Solo eats the pin,
There you go.
And then it's like, where does Solo move away from Roman? Does he stay with Roman? You know, things like that. But I think the Usos are going to win. That's just my pick through due to miscommunication between Solo and Roman.
Yeah, I mean, I see either. Yeah, I can definitely see that too. And what kind of surprises me is they're not focusing on Solo being the Usos' brother. You
Yeah,
would,
I
I
mean they
mean,
mentioned it, but they're not. That's not the focal point of the story. They just kind of mention it in passing.
yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, they're brothers.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know, I
By the way,
mean,
that
yeah. And they have the same mother and dad, so they're not even like half siblings. They are full on siblings, and
yeah,
yeah, we don't care. But Roman's their cousin.
yeah. Who
Nah,
they grew up together like brothers. So Roman's basically like another brother because they all grew up together.
but they don't mention it, and I think it'll be a nasty match, and I'm guessing it's like a no DQ match. It's the only thing I can think of. Bloodline Civil War because they're just making stuff up now.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, and then pretty soon they may come up with, sponsored by Mountain Dew. Well, never mind. You don't have a lot of Mountain Dew over in England. Um, sponsored by Pepsi. I don't know. You know, uh, and so I'll let you move on from that one because that one has been. I know it's been the big storyline over the past couple years. It's been bringing people back into wrestling as far as like being fans. So, um, next one we kind of touched on a little bit already, but Seth Rollins, Finn Balor for that World Heavyweight Championship.
My pick, I think Seth is going to win, but honestly, I think Finn should win.
Yeah. Um,
Finn Finn Balor has been screwed in the main event scene ever since he got called up. I mean, he got the rocket ship push when he first got called up from NXT in 2016. Was first Universal Champion. Got injured during the match
against who?
and against Seth.
Yes.
Yeah, with the buckle bomb, except he did it on the outside on the barricade. Uh, and 20, I think he said in his promo Monday, 22 hours later, he had to relinquish the title
Yep.
due to several injuries. Never got his rematch for the Universal title. Not while,
Oh, not while Seth was the champion.
not while Seth was champion, not while Kevin Owens was champion. He didn't get another shot at the Universal title until Royal Rumble. I can't remember the year, but he challenged Brock Lesnar. We all knew he wasn't beating Lesnar. And then he got one more
Mhm.
shot at the Universal title against Roman and lost because the ring rope broke.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he got injured due to no fault of his own, had to relinquish the title that he just won, and has gotten two world title matches in 7 years. This will be his third, technically fourth world title match in the last 7 years.
I think Finn should. Um,
Mhm.
depends on who is doing the booking in the back because, like you said, if they've been trying to plan SmackDown weeks in
Yeah,
advance. So they might be trying to do other things also weeks in advance, which is really how you should be doing them anyway.
yeah, that's how you shouldn't be doing it just week to week. But and the sad thing is Vince is not even there. Vince is doing all this remotely from home and
Oh, well, he
still
can work from home
still messing
anyway.
up the story. Here's the thing. Block him out. Block his internet access. I mean, you just cut him out. Just be like, I don't know what's going on, Vince, but
We can tell him, hey, the Zoom link just dropped.
yeah, it's like
So, bloop. uh, you see somebody kind of sneak in, grab the mouse. I don't know. He just dropped, and
yeah, yeah,
you know he's off there. He's still counting his $1 billion right now. So,
yeah.
but
I think Finn should win it, but I think Seth is going to win.
I think the audience, to be honest with you, it depends on if they're willing to travel, would probably be more behind Finn
Hmm.
because Ireland's not that far away from England. You
Hmm.
know, it
Yep.
you can take a ferry. There may be people jumping on the ferry right now to make sure because it's not a short ferry ride. I will say that.
Right.
Um, but they could be traveling there right now to go watch it in London. So and if they're going to take a puddle jumper, some of the airlines over there are really really cheap. Ryanair and EasyJet, or some people call it Sleazy Jet, where the prices are real cheap, but everything is pretty much optional. So you are paying extra if you want things like food and um and like inside the jet you have like advertisements,
Oh,
like
wow.
yeah. So that's why they're so cheap. But I mean, if you want a short flight, I mean, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
But so I think the audience would be more behind Finn than what they would Seth. I'm going to go with Finn actually winning because I think it'd be a better story. Seth doesn't need that belt.
Yeah, I think it would be a better story too because everything would come full circle from
Yeah,
7 years. And yeah, I would love to see Finn Balor win it. I think he deserves to win it. But I just think they're going to keep it on Seth for a while.
yeah, because right now, the Judgment Day. That's so stupid. Just get the word "the" out of there. But Judgment Day, they've been booked to look weak. We discussed this in one of the previous episodes. It's like, you know, um, they've been losing a lot of matches, and I
Yeah,
think actually it was Kyle who pointed it out. They've been losing a lot of matches. Are they being booked, as jobbers to the stars? Because like, yeah,
right.
they have been losing a lot.
Hmm.
So I think this will give Finn a boost. It'll give the Judgment Day a boost and that'll be two titles that are in their camp.
There's also been friction between him and Damian Priest
Ah,
over who should be the world champion because Damian Priest got a shot at Seth.
ooh,
Cost him.
mm.
Yeah. So those seeds are there. Plus Damian Priest is in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Ooh, long-term storytelling. I'll throw this in there right
Mhm.
now, even though I don't think, this is still a couple matches away. But I'll say if Priest is going to win the Money in the Bank ladder match, Finn wins this title, he could turn on him down the road.
Mhm. Yep.
So, ooh, you know
Good.
what? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm just saying that's how I would armchair book this.
Oh yeah.
So, so we actually have a split opinion on this one. You
Yep.
think Seth will win it? I think Finn will get it. We both think Finn should get it.
Hmm.
But the next one's also involving Judgment Day. It's Cody and Dominic. Um,
Oh,
hmm,
Cody will win. I don't see them having Cody lose on pay-per-view.
no, not with the kind
Um,
of push they've been trying. They're trying to give him like a perpetual push.
yeah, and I think they're going to want to keep that momentum. Dominic needs to win this match. There's only so long that he can go that, he can be the sleazy heel and not win a big match. That can only go for so long before he starts looking weak. Right now, he looks like a sleazy heel. Is what he's going for. You know, he's got he's got the fans booing him out of every building, which is what he's going for.
Hmm.
But he always loses the big match, so he needs a big win to make his character more credible.
If he wins, it'll be because of interference from Rhea.
Oh, definitely, absolutely.
Yeah. Um,
Um, but I think Cody's going. I think Dominic should win, but I think Cody's going to win.
um, I don't see Ray turning heel and helping him. So,
No, I don't either.
mm. Ray should retire anyway. You know,
Yeah,
not that he can't still go because he can, but once you
like
get
I
put in the
said
Hall of Fame, you're
before,
done.
yeah, like I said before, he should have lost at WrestleMania and retired right there. It would have been a great story to tell.
Yep, having a match with his son at
Hmm.
WrestleMania. That is their moment because
Yeah.
they got a picture of it somewhere like over their mantle of them in the
Oh
ring.
yeah. Oh, they do. Yeah.
You know? Oh, so Dominic should, Cody will.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. It was Lena Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bailey, Io Sky, Trish Stratus. I'll say if Trish Stratus wins, I will turn off the pay per view.
I will
Um,
riot if Trish Stratus wins this match.
yeah,
She has
and
the business in this match. You're you're a Hall of Famer. Go home.
go home.
There's nothing else for you to do. I mean, just stop.
Wait till the
Here's what.
wildfires calm down in Canada and go home.
Yeah, and then go home. Here's what I think will happen. Person I think should win this is Io Sky. Her and Bailey are having issues anyway. I see damage control not being a thing for too much longer because I think Io is going to turn face and then feud with Bailey. Um, I would love to see Io versus Asuka in a title feud. That would be an amazing series of matches. I think Io should win this. I think Becky's going to win this
Uh,
because that's the only thing that Becky hasn't done besides win the NXT women's championship is win Money in the Bank.
and they're trying to get that um the
That
ultimate,
legacy, yeah,
yeah, uh
yeah. And they
because
keep hyping up that she needs it for her legacy and all this stuff. And I think they're going to have Becky win it, which I like Becky Lynch. I have no problem
all
with
right.
Becky Lynch. I would have no problem with her being Miss Money in the Bank. I just think Io Sky would be the better choice.
I don't see Zoe Stark getting it up. I don't think she's ready. Um,
She just got called up, and they
right.
got in the thing with Trish. Yeah, I don't think she's ready for that. I don't see they're not going to give it to Bailey. Bailey's already won it once. Bailey is one of the most unselfish people in pro wrestling. She is willing to put over talent to get them
Hmm.
to that next level.
She's willing to
And
put over lesser talent so they can,
exactly,
yeah.
I don't see them giving it to Zelina Vega.
She can't reach the briefcase anyway, even when she
Right,
stands
I
on
know.
top.
And they
She'd be like,
better not
uh, uh.
Trish. So it's to me, it's down to Io Sky and Becky. And like I said, I think Becky will win it, but Io should win it.
Yeah. You know what? Because they like having Becky in those title matches. Becky doesn't need the Money in the Bank to have a title match. Um,
No, Becky's at that John Cena level. Like when
hmm
John Cena won Money in the Bank, there was no need for it because Cena just walks in and tells the champion, I want a shot at the title, and he gets a title match. Becky's on that level now where she can just be like, I want a shot at the title.
Yeah, I
And
mean, somebody the champion sitting there like in the middle of like an Olive Garden trying to eat, and then
yeah.
they're like, "I want,"
And Becky's like, oh, I want my title shot.
but
And
I'm trying to eat
so
my chicken parmesan here. Do you mind? You know?
yeah, Becky doesn't need it. Becky's one of those stars that's beyond the briefcase, doesn't need it to get over or be over. I've always felt that the Money in the Bank briefcase, the men and the women, should be to get people over and get them to that next level, to get them to
Right.
the main event scene.
Yep. Because they're right. They have to be mid card.
Exactly.
It can't be a
So
starter. It has to be sort of mid card, but it'll help boost them
exactly.
up.
And help move them up because the Money in the Bank is does for people what the Intercontinental Championship used to do.
Yep.
It's that level to where here you are, and this will move you to the main event. And Io needs that. Becky does not. Becky's going to remain a main eventer until she retires because she's gotten herself there.
Oh yeah.
But
Now
Io definitely win.
Becky's already joked saying that she's going to win it and then she's going to cash in on Seth. You know,
That would be hilarious. It'd be dumb, but it would be.
it would be fun to watch. She shows
Yeah,
up at his match like doing the Big
yeah, like,
E. I want Big E to have the briefcase again just because of that.
yeah, like it's like give me. It's like go ahead and let me win this title, or it's going to be bad for you at home.
um, but all right, men's match, last one on here.
Men's match.
Ricochet, yep, the men's match. Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul.
Yeah, I saw on Parts Unknown on YouTube they were talking about Money in the Bank, and there's one guy on there. His name is Tempest. He wears a mask, and he said that he needed. He's like Butch is in this match, but I need Pete Dunne to come out of witness protection because I'm tired of the Butch thing. I agree. I need Pete Dunne. I need NXT Pete Dunne in this match, but they're not going to give it to him. They're not going to give it to Shinsuke. Shinsuke's time in the main event scene has come and gone. They had the opportunity to give it to him when he was feuding with AJ, and they didn't do it. Um, why you have him win the Royal Rumble and then not give him the championship makes no sense, but that's what they
No,
did. They're not going to give it to Ricochet. They're never going to push Ricochet to the main event scene. He's had one world championship match since he came up from NXT, and it was a squash in Saudi against Brock.
yeah.
Um,
And did you notice that they have 7 in this match, but they only have 6 in the women's match?
hmm
That
yeah,
actually, I'm gonna go back to the women's match for a second. Makes me wonder if they don't have somebody waiting in the wings.
yeah, and I hope they don't because I hate when they do that. It's like here's what you advertised, so leave it at that and go. Don't pull don't pull
Don't pull a
this.
Brock.
Yeah, don't pull a scenario like Brock Lesnar where it's just like, oh, Brock's in the match, even though he comes down at the very end of the match to win and hasn't put his body through anything.
Right.
But they're not going to give it to Ricochet. Like I said, they don't view him as a main event guy. Even though he's absolutely amazing in the
Mm-hmm.
ring. Logan Paul has absolutely no business in this match. If you want to go storyline wise, he didn't even qualify for the match. He just made a phone call to management and got invited into the match.
I
I am
don't. I
thoroughly,
don't. I don't get the value of having him in there. Okay.
I don't, I am thoroughly impressed with his dedication to pro wrestling, with
Yeah.
his athleticism, the work that you can obviously tell he puts in. But that does not mean that he should come into a match designed for people who are there 300 days a year
Mm-hmm.
and take a spot from somebody that deserves that spot. Bronson Reed should have had that spot instead of Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Um, but my pick, I think LA Knight's going to win, and LA Knight should win.
I
But
agree on both.
I'm going to put an asterisk because we all know how Vince McMahon loves the media spotlight and the crossover promotion and stuff like that. It would not surprise me to see Vince McMahon book Logan Paul to win Money in the Bank. If Logan Paul wins Money in
Oh,
the Bank, there's going to be so many obscenities flying around my house because I'm not going to be happy at all.
yeah. Um, l- the novelty of Logan Paul, the celebrity novelty, to me it's already worn off.
It's already worn off.
Yeah,
It
it was
wore off.
a huge deal in Saudi. It was a big
Yep.
deal in the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Okay, the Elimination Chamber when he did his thing when he popped in, they had that when him and Ricochet. I mean, they were
Yeah.
both playing the floor is lava, and they were
Yeah.
just colliding midair. That was a cool spot.
Oh yeah.
But right now, it's become it's a distraction, because Ricochet, like you said, and I agree, Ricochet deserves more than what he's been getting. Shinsuke
Well,
is still respected. Everybody loves watching Shinsuke, but his time in the main event's already gone.
yeah,
Santos Escobar, not ready yet.
yeah, he's not ready yet. I mean, excellent pro wrestler,
Hmm.
but he's not ready for that spot, and I don't see them. I don't think they view him as a main event guy either.
No, he's got a long way to go. Butch, he's better off as part of the Brawling Brutes. That
Yeah,
he's with. Love watching when he's part of that. And it's
yeah.
it's
If
brutal.
they're not going to revert him to Pete Dunne and him be the bruiserweight and be that guy that was NXT UK champion for like 600 days,
Hmm.
then leave him in the Brawling Brutes.
Damian Priest would be my second pick
Forgot
behind
about
LA
that.
Knight.
Yeah, just with storyline implications with him and Finn Balor alone, he would be a good pick. But I still think the smart move is to do it LA Knight. He is
Because
open.
so hot
He is
right now.
so hot.
Yeah.
And WWE always has a thing of like he got himself over, and that's the only problem I see with them not giving it to him because Vince has a problem with somebody getting themselves over and him not getting them over.
Right. Um, had a supervisor like that once. He only liked stuff when he could claim credit for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had
And
some. Yep.
um, and Logan Paul, like I said, I will have a riot in my own house
Oh yeah.
if Logan Paul wins.
I
I,
won't
I,
tear up stuff because my wife will kill me, but I
right.
will not be pleased at all because it's stupid. There's no upside to Logan Paul winning Money in the Bank. It doesn't. He's not a wrestler that is going to benefit. This
No.
is this is Ronda Rousey all over again. This is I'm going to come in, have 3, 4 matches. This is only his what tag match with the Miz, SummerSlam match with the Miz. He got the Universal title shot against Roman. He was in the Rumble. This is his fifth match.
Yeah.
This will be his fifth professional wrestling match. It is a slap. It will be a slap in the face to anybody competing in that match or has ever competed in Money in the Bank to have Logan Paul walk in 5 matches in and win that briefcase. Because who's he going to cash in on? Are they going to have him cash in on Seth? Or are they going to have him? He ain't cashing in on Roman.
No. Um, and you're going to have a situation even worse than the David Arquette situation.
Oh yeah, and I mean they did this with Ronda when she came in. Ronda was like 4 or 5 matches in and was already the women's champion. And it's like, no, that's not how this works.
Right. And when Alexa Bliss referred to her as the overhyped rookie, she wasn't lying.
Wasn't lying. No, because she was a rookie and she was overhyped. She is still not a good professional wrestler after
No.
all this time. Shayna Baszler is the workhorse of their tag team.
Oh,
Shayna
absolutely.
Baszler, amazing pro wrestler, and should have been either Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion by now.
Yes. I think the only reason now why she's doing this tag team is to help Ronda kind of get over.
Yeah, she's carrying Ronda
Hmm. And
because here's the thing: Ronda's a heel. The only reason Ronda's a heel is because nobody likes the fact that she barely wrestles at all and gets these monster pushes. She's not a heel like Shayna's a heel. Shayna's a heel because she's like, I'm going to come out and I'm going to break you down limb by limb and take what you have, and I don't care what anybody thinks about it. Ronda's a
yep.
heel because people want her to go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's got
And
away heat, and Shayna has heel heat.
because Ronda had that go away heat a few years ago, remember? And she actually quit pro wrestling because she did not know how to handle being booed.
When she
And
got Charlotte beat the crap out of her with the kendo stick at Survivor Series. Yeah, and Charlotte got cheered and Ronda got booed, and you could tell she did not know what to do. And that's that's where experience comes in because an experienced pro wrestler would have taken that response and instantly flipped it. and
Yep.
just turned heel. It's like, if you're going to boo me, I'm going to give you a reason to boo me.
Yep. But she didn't know how to do that. And now I think her stock has definitely dropped. You
Oh
know,
yeah. I think her stock has dropped. I think everybody has respect for what she did in UFC, but I don't think anybody has any respect for her as a pro wrestler because she's not good.
right.
She's not good, and I don't. And just watching her matches, she has not progressed hardly at all from where she was when she first started. It's obvious that she's not putting in the work to get better. She's just coasting on her name recognition.
Because there is a difference between MMA and professional wrestling.
Yes.
You know, the sports
And
entertainment, professional wrestling.
yeah, you can incorporate the arm bar and,
Hmm.
things like that into pro wrestling, but you've got to know how you're to carry yourself as a wrestler. And here's another thing. Ronda Rousey was in fights that sometimes only lasted 12 seconds. She's not
Yeah.
used to going 20 minutes in a match. I know it's like you said, pro wrestling is different than UFC, but cardio alone,
Hmm.
she ain't used to going 20 minutes in anything because her UFC matches, I think in one year she had 4 matches, and I think it totaled like 5 minutes worth of time in the cage because she tapped everybody out so quick, which is a testament to her skill. But that doesn't translate well to pro wrestling when cardio is one of the most important things to have.
And she lost her last two UFC fights. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she
um,
got worked in the one where she lost the title
yeah.
because she went in. I feel like she went in overconfident and didn't stick with her game, and she tried to stand up to Holly, and Holly knocked her out.
I think Holly Holm, I mean, I think this may be I think it's fair comparison. Holly Holm, she's like the Buster Douglas of UFC,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, she
you
took
know?
down the perceived unbeatable champion, and then Amanda Nunes came in and was like, "No, I'm just going to take that and show you how it's done."
Hmm. Yeah, because I don't even know who Buster Douglas lost the title to.
I don't either. I don't remember.
You know,
I know, I know he lost at his first
yeah,
title defense.
yeah. I mean,
So
he beat Mike Tyson. He studied Mike Tyson. He,
mhm,
he found the weaknesses and he knew
mhm.
what to do. And and so and obviously that's not a knock on Buster Douglas. I mean, he's a former heavyweight world champion for boxing, just like Holly Holm is a former, what is she, bantamweight?
Yes,
Yeah,
yep,
she
Phantom,
and she beat, like you said, the formerly unbeatable Ronda
yeah,
Rousey.
yeah,
And I mean, beat her down. I mean, came up bloody because she
yeah.
just kept pounding. They had to stop the match.
Oh yeah. And here's the thing with Ronda, and I think this is carried over to WWE. Holly Holm shattered the mystique of Ronda Rousey.
Hmm.
Before then, in the women's division, Ronda Rousey, whether she had the title or not, was the final boss. Holly
Yep.
beat the final boss and shattered that mystique, and Ronda's never gotten that mystique back
And she
because
tried.
she's tried, but she was considered to be deadly in UFC. She was deadly in UFC. Shayna
But
Baszler's dead in pro wrestling. Ronda
hmm
Rousey is not.
and by the way, Shayna Baszler is also a former MMA fighter.
Mm-hmm. Who
So
who was trained to incorporate that into pro wrestling, not
mhm.
make that the only thing you're able to do.
Yep. So that match is going to be, well, honestly, I don't. I think that match is not even going to come anywhere close to being like match of the night. Um, just looking over these, I could see um Gunther and Riddle. I could see being really good. Seth and Finn will be really good. Cody and Dominic. I think Dominic's still too green. You know,
He's
Cody will bring it,
he's
but
a lot better than
yeah,
Cody will bring it, and I think Cody will bring it out of Dominic. I think it'll be a good match. I don't think it's going to be on the level of. I think Finn and Seth will have the match of the night as far as
yep.
in ring performance. Seth and Finn will have match as sports entertainment drama. Usos What happened?
Um, I don't know. All of a sudden, you said as far as drama, Usos and Bidoom, people on YouTube, they'll see that.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know. It's weird. It dropped and then came right back up. But yeah, as
um,
far as drama goes, it'll be Usos and Bloodline. But I think in ring work, it'll be Seth and Finn.
I'll say Seth and Finn. Um, Behind that'll be Gunther and Matt Riddle, and it'll probably be a close, very close second. Gunther and Matt Riddle. That one definitely has some potential to be really good. But yeah, the drama part, because I don't see a lot of good wrestling coming in the Bloodline match. It's going to be brutal hits, kicks, punches, and hatred
Right. That's also going to main event this week because Roman's in it.
because
So
Roman's in it, and
yeah,
the Bloodline is the hot
I mean that's the hot
storyline.
story.
Yeah. So
I mean,
um, I'm not going to try to predict any cash ins because we don't know the actual order they're going to have. If one of the Money in the Bank matches are first, look for potential
mhm.
cash in later. That's the way they've been doing it. So
And here's the thing with the women: this will be the first year that the this will be the first year since Carmella that the women's Money in the Bank briefcase will not be at least cashed in on the same night. Nikki ASH did hers the next night, but for years in a row, everybody cashed in the same night because
oh yeah,
Asuka,
there's
un, unless there's some shenanigans in her title defense against Charlotte on SmackDown tomorrow, because they're in London, SmackDown's in London, and
hmm
Asuka's supposed to defend the title against Charlotte. So unless there's some shenanigans, then Asuka won't be on the show.
you're right. Because I'm
There's
looking.
no women's title match. There's no catch in.
There's your mystery seventh person. If it happens, it'll be Charlotte.
Bless. I hope not.
Oscar's
I would
gonna.
I would rather their match be like a count out or a DQ or something. I would rather Bianca Belair interfere because she's mad that Charlotte jumped the line. I would be happier if she interfered, messed up the match, and they booked them as a triple threat on the pay-per-view.
If they start talking about only 6 women but 7 men, look for a mystery.
Well, look for Charlotte to come out, and then
Yeah. Although it would be cool if Bianca came out.
yeah, it'd
So
be cool if Bianca came out.
yeah,
Charlotte doesn't need anything. She needs to go home. I mean,
yeah,
stop. I mean, come on. It's like she got called up to the main roster in 2015 and has won, counting NXT championships, she's won 16 women's championships in 8 years.
yeah. Just let somebody else have the spotlight for a bit.
Yeah, which
You
means
know,
she is. I mean, I know they don't consider the NXT title like a legit world title, but you take that off and you take the NXT titles off, that's still 14 world championships in 8 years. That's ridiculous.
uh,
Technically, technically it's 17 because she had the Divas Championship before they turned it into the Women's Championship.
yeah, the little
So
butterfly looking belt.
she had the butterfly belt, 2 NXT Women's Championships, and then 14 more. It's like, why?
Oh well. So we will find out here in almost exactly 48 hours from now is when the pay per view is going to be starting.
Yep.
So everybody, listen. You hear our predictions. So write them down whenever it happens. Send me and Dwaylen messages. Let us know how we did because I probably won't remember what we said and I'll
Yep.
have to go back and listen to myself. So, but all right, dude, I'm gonna go ahead and
All right,
say
man.
goodbye for now. But until we can actually meet again, probably on Monday, maybe Tuesday, we'll have to see because the food truck is apparently doing very well. If you're in the Paducah area, go by Dwaylen's food truck. What is the name of your food truck?
Mom and Papa's Family Food.
There you go. Go by there, check it out. They're doing really well. so well. They actually just say, well, we're going to be stopping at this time, and the place where they're at says, no, we want you to stay because we have customers that are willing to give you money. And I'm like, and I don't blame you. So,
Yeah.
um, until we can meet again, my friend, I have to say good night, good day, and God bless.
God bless.